Hi, and welcome to mm, episode one or bonus episode one of our bonus series or our Sabbat series. Welcome.
Yeah, yeah,
Yay.
and it's really probably the only for 2024 we'll do this because the same information will apply to all the Sabbats every year,
hmm
but
Unless if like we find that maybe we
updates
benefit
or
from something else and we'll just provide
well,
updates in a following year.
it's like on my Bats and Baubles. I do yearly updates for the Sabbat. I have
hmm
Sabbat planners and I like to update them yearly because I like to put in different um recipes and that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it
Who knows?
could be, but right now we're just planning on
Yes.
it being a one-time deal for this year
hmm
only.
hmm
So we're
And
excited
if
about
if
it.
you're new and you've never heard of us, we are C3, Crystals, Cauldrons, and Cocktails,
Yes.
where I am Ren Graves.
And I am River Game.
uh, uh,
What's my name?
and we host a witchy podcast
And like to drink a lot, which
and
is
have
hence my problem today.
specialty cocktails. Um, but we really wanted to specifically hone in on the Sabbats because I feel like in our normal podcast, we always have a mishmash where we briefly talk
Yeah.
about it when it's coming up, but then we move on to a normal topic.
Yeah, we usually have
So,
a topic and then this just little blurb.
mhm.
Yeah.
So what if you just want to search up, oh, what am I supposed to do for Imbolc? Let me listen to a
Mm-hmm.
fun little podcast. Here you
Mm-hmm.
go.
Here you go. You're welcome.
You're welcome. I mean, no one asked for it, but you're welcome. So, I guess let's just like get into it a little bit.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
what is Imbolc? So, Imbolc is a pagan festival that marks the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. It is
Mm-hmm.
traditionally observed on February 1st or 2nd, depending on the specific tradition or culture practices.
Mm-hmm.
The word Imbolc is believed to have originated from the Old Irish word oamel.
Yep. Here we go
Also, if you're
again.
new here, I can't pronounce shit. So it is spelled Oimelc.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which means ewes milk, like the animal, the ewe,
Yeah, not you.
E-W, not you milk, ewe, E-W-E, milk, as this is the time when ewes begin to lactate in preparation for the spring lambing.
Yes, which is super important to
Yes.
our ancestors.
hmm
Yeah, for sure.
Milk, I found out, like, I know we've talked about in bulk before, but again, I feel like we've never done a deep dive like this. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
finding out that milk is very important to in bulk, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what? Like, really? So it was very interesting.
Yeah.
And it is a time for honoring the goddess Brigid, the one of spring, and apparently a surge in forgetfulness among witches.
Yeah, I've got some funny stories to tell you a little bit later, but Imbolc does it marks the awakening of the earth and goddess Brigid's return from her winter slumber. So, however, it seems that Brigid has developed a mischievous streak.
Yes.
However, it seems Brigid has developed a mischievous streak, delighting in playing pranks on unsuspecting witches. From
hmm
hiding spell books to turning broomsticks into spaghetti, Brigid's sense of humor knows no bounds. Imbolc celebrates coming growth, where we are all looking forward to the return of light, and it is also a time of reaffirm.
Um, Also, our podcast is full of us just making mistakes, making fun of ourselves,
You
and
know, we used to
having
do
funny titles
bloopers.
because of it.
We used to do bloopers, but every podcast is a blooper, so we've stopped doing the bloopers
Uh-huh.
and they just are here.
hmm
So it is a time to reaffirm life and start thinking about the coming harvest season.
Yes. I really love in bulk because it's kind of like you're coming out of winter and you're moving
Hmm.
more into spring. And I know some people can get like the word that came to mind is like slumped, but like sad,
Depressed? Yeah.
depressed. And it's what is there's a term for it, like
It's
seasonal
like I
depression
was
type
going
of
to say the
thing.
winter blues, but seasonal
Yeah,
depression is more appropriate.
all of the above. And so Imbolc is one
Yeah,
of those that's a little bit reviving. I really like Imbolc because of that.
I I do too. I mean, here in the United States, even here in Georgia where we are, it's still cold
Hmm.
in February, but we are starting to think ahead to, oh, our garden. Let's think about what we're
Yes,
going to
yes,
plant in our garden this year.
preparations. Hmm.
Yes, so it is a very exciting time. It's getting lighter and lighter every day. And so it is a wonderful time, even though it's not truly spring. We're not going to be planting any crops anytime soon,
Hmm.
but it is still, there is that optimistic hope
Yes.
for the future. Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, the one thing that keeps us going as humans is hope in
Hmm.
a lot of
For
ways.
sure. For
And
sure.
so a little bit of history. So it is Celtic origins.
Hmm.
And then, like I said, it's associated with the goddess Brigid, who is often revered as both a goddess of fire and a deity connected to healing, poetry, and smithcraft.
Oh, that's cool.
And so Imbolc is a time to celebrate the returning light of the first, and it's the first signs of spring. It is considered one of the four Celtic fire festivals, which I love a good fire festival,
Me too.
along with Beltane, Lammas, and Samhain. And
Hmm.
then traditional customs during Imbolc include lighting candles or fires to symbolize the increasing daylight, as well as making rigid crosses, which I think I've posted a picture on our Instagram
I
a
think you did.
long time ago, but maybe we can do something to bring back the picture or
Maybe we should do
post
a
some more.
blog post for every one of these Sabbats.
Yes. Oh, that would be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that would be
And
good.
then the bridges cross, it's a symbol of protection.
Hmm.
And some people also engage in divination and ritual purification during this time, which we have a lot of that on our normal C3 series.
Oh, we do for sure.
We just put out a whole episode on just New Year divination altogether.
We did. We did.
So,
So there is some folklore about Imbolc, the thing that you were talking about forgetting things.
mhm.
This is so funny, and I don't know if anybody else, if any of our listeners out there have experienced this or not. But first of all, the folklore, let's get into some folklore.
Yes.
You can't talk about Imbolc without mentioning candles and lots of them,
Hmm.
which I think it's also called Candlemas. This this Sabbat. That's the
Okay.
another name for this Sabbat.
Hmm.
But witches that are eager to embrace the symbolism of light returning, we always, of course, we stock up
Yes.
on candles of all shapes and sizes.
We love a good
But
candle.
we do. But Imbolc happens to be the time of year when we mysteriously forget where we've put our matches, or worse, accidentally set our spell parchments on fire while attempting an elaborate candle lighting
Uh-huh.
ritual.
Uh-huh.
The sheep's milk that you were talking about.
Yes.
Sheep's milk mishaps. In traditional Imbolc ceremonies, offerings of milk are made to honor Bridget's connection to fertility and abundance.
Hmm.
However, some modern witches have taken it upon themselves to try to offer artisanal sheep's milk sourced from sheep farms.
Oh.
Now, that's very challenging to try to find a sheep farm that will give you sheep's milk. That's, I just can't see driving up to a sheep farm and saying, "Hey, can we have some used milk for this celebration?" It's not a normal thing. And it also leads to a string of humorous tales about witches getting lost, wandering through fields trying to find these magical sheep for the milk for their practice.
Very true.
Wardrobe malfunctions. Okay, I don't know who all saw the Super Bowl episode with Janet Jackson and the wardrobe malfunction, but that's become a thing. Imbolc, with its promise of spring, often tempts witches to don their most flowery and whimsical attire. Of course, we're looking forward to spring.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, this newfound fashion enthusiasm comes at a cost. Forgetting where we put our hats or accidentally donning mismatched socks in the haste to greet the impending warmer season, you name it, it happens on Imbolc. And a lot of people blame Brigid for this. That is her mischievous side.
Hmm.
uh, we can always come up with excuses for why we are forgetful or we have these mishaps. We are very creative in coming up with that. So we can always blame it on a mischievous sprite or
Hmm.
the fae.
The
I mean,
Fae always come to mind.
right?
The poor
Uh,
Fae. It's not always them, but
or we can insist it was Brigid herself who asked to borrow our wand or hat or matches or whatever we've lost. I mean, who's going to deny Brigid what she might need for this holiday, right?
hmm
But these common mishaps offer witches a chance to embrace the lighter side of our magical journey. As candles flicker, sheep's milk spills, and witches search for their missing brooms that might have been turned into noodles, let's
Noodles.
indulge ourselves in the whimsical side of Imbolc. I mean, we're always so serious, and you've got to imagine our ancestors, it was a serious time for them
Yes.
because they were coming to the end of their stocked stores and that kind of thing.
hmm
But they weren't just stark, cold, unhappy people. They were there were times of happiness. And
Yeah.
Imbolc is a great time to think about the whimsiness that is out there and the things that might go wrong and how we get through them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we talk about this a lot where modern day, they didn't all like where witches stem from and the
Hmm.
history that our ancestors hold. They have not always had the best of times. So they
Hmm.
always had to make it with what they had and make the
Right.
best of it. And I think part of that is lost in translation a lot.
Hmm.
And that's one thing that I try to use in bulk and our Sabbats and just my practice in general to remember that we weren't always the way that we are today.
Hmm. And to
Anyways,
appreciate what we have. And
yes.
Imbolc is a great time to appreciate what we
hmm
have because we
It's
can go upstairs and make a can of soup and
hmm
be fed and
hmm
warm, make a
it's
fire in our
it's
fireplace.
so easy because I mean you call them first world problems. You complain about
Right.
your shirt shrinking in the dryer, getting a
Hmm.
stain or spilling
Hmm.
milk in this
Right.
case.
Hmm.
But they are things that our ancestors didn't have the luxury to complain
Hmm.
about. I think they would see that as a blessing, you
Right.
know.
And I
So,
think they thought Imbolc was a blessing.
yes.
Look, we've survived through this harsh
hmm
winter to this point, and the future is coming, the light is coming,
hmm
and harvest will be
Crops, yeah,
coming. Yeah.
everything, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
one way to honor or celebrate in bulk is lighting those candles, lighting those fires, setting
Hmm.
like you have fire, it's a fire festival. So fire
Hmm.
is going to be one of those things that is very potent. So have bonfires, light as many candles as you can. I mean, don't burn down your house, but light as many as you can. One of these ways is you can place candles on a mirror laying flat on your table, and then it'll reflect that additional light.
Oh,
So
yeah,
you can
that
have
makes it
that.
even
hmm
brighter. Oh, such a great idea.
Yes. And
Plus, any
then,
melted wax comes off easy on
oh, easy, easy peasy.
off of a can comes
Off
comes
off
easy
of a
off of a
candle.
candle.
I mean, but even then, like if you're looking to reuse it, it's a reusable thing too. You have
For
melted
sure.
wax and it's on a surface that's easily cleanable.
Ooh,
You just
and you
retake it
could
and remelt it and make a new candle.
you could read the melting wax on the mirror as
Very
well.
true. There's a lot of things
Divination.
that you can
Hmm.
do.
Yeah.
You can also create crosses, Brigid crosses.
Hmm.
So you can make these out of reeds, straw, other materials. Like there's the limit does not exist when it comes to honoring her
Hmm.
in this way. These are traditional symbols associated with her and are believed to bring protection into the home. So maybe you would want to hang it on your door for protection or maybe above your door in some way. And
I
then
like that idea.
if you need inspiration or if you're like, what the heck does it look like? We can try to post a picture, but again, Google is your biggest friend when it
For
comes to
sure.
stuff like this. So easily
Yeah.
Google what they look like, find inspiration. You can make them any way, but there's like a traditional one and you can make it any way that fits your practice, your aesthetic, whatever it is.
Yeah, there are a bunch of how-tos out there and you can, change those up for
Oh,
whatever you
yeah.
want.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing you can do to celebrate is decorate your altar.
Yes.
So decorate your altar with the symbols of Imbolc, like the candles you were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
representations of Brigid, early spring flowers like snowdrops,
Mm-hmm.
seasonal colors like white and green. And those of you who don't have really a place to put an altar, have a digital altar. There are some
Yes.
people that
Yes.
live, like I've got a friend that lives up in New York, and she lives in this studio apartment. I mean, it's a teeny tiny space. And
Mm-hmm.
she's like, I don't really have a place to set aside for an altar because
Mm-hmm.
every inch is premium. And she can have a digital altar. You can put it on
Mm-hmm.
your smartphone, you can put it on your computer, and you just find images that represent Imbolc, Brigid, or anything else
Mm-hmm.
coming of spring, and spend a moment in quiet contemplation and meditation,
Oh
which I
yeah.
think is a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might want to make a Imbolc altar on my computer as my
Like a
desktop that
desktop.
comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just there when I open up my
Yeah.
computer.
It's definitely a thing. And I mean, if you don't have what like horizontal space, like surfaces that you can
Right,
take up, you can also do vertical. Like your wall can be
right.
your altar. You can put a
Hmm.
shelf and that can be like a little altar. If you don't have the space, a digital one is perfect.
Yeah, for sure. And you could even create, like if you use Canva or whatever device that you use to create
Mm-hmm.
pictures, you can make yourself,
Photoshop, whatever it
but
is.
yeah, you can make a, a vertical picture that you can then print out and hang on your wall, and that's your
Exactly.
altar.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You can also engage in purification rituals at this time, which to me, this is the time. I love that frigid, cold air. I know I've said this before. I open up the windows, my kids hate it, but I just that it gives me hope. It's that hopeful energy that comes
Mm-hmm.
in on that
Mm-hmm.
breeze. But you can engage in ritual purification either through meditation, smudging, or other cleansing practices. And, this is a symbol of purifying energy and the returning of the sun.
Mm-hmm. What I usually do in my cases is I take incense and I go around the house
Hmm.
and I cleanse that way.
Yeah, some of our patrons, like we had one that's got stepchildren or
Mm-hmm.
bonus children, as she calls them. Nika, she said that, she had to come up with something other than incense or smokes and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can use other things that represent the coming of the sun, the returning of the sun.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then one of my favorite ways to enjoy a new Sabbath coming in, a new era, is food.
Oh yeah,
I love
food.
food.
We
And
love
so, and
food.
I mean, I think part of that is because I am a kitchen witch. I
Yeah,
love
for sure.
cooking. Cooking is my happy space.
Hmm.
So you can always prepare and share a feast with family, friends, anything. And more specifically, the food would incorporate seasonal foods.
Hmm.
So in this case, it would be like dairy based because especially with Imbolc, this one is very dairy based. And
Hmm.
so anything dairy, if you're lactose intolerant, I would add in the what are they called? There are milks and everything
Yes.
that are lactose free.
I mean,
Um,
almond milk and
yes,
those type of things for
I
sure.
think that that's absolutely fine. Like you don't have to have your gut suffer just because you're trying to honor.
Honor,
They
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
understand. It's however you want to practice.
And you can also use the milk that you can't drink as an offering. You don't have to drink it
Mm-hmm.
yourself. You can
Mm-hmm.
leave it out as
Yep.
an offering. I think feasting is honestly my favorite way to celebrate any of the Sabbats.
Anything. I
Oh,
love food
and drinking. I love
and
drinking
drinking.
too. That's fun
Yes.
too. Yeah.
Yes. And then also more specifically, so you have the dairy, but you can also incorporate other things such as oatmeal or porridge. And
Hmm.
specifically, this is a great way to it symbolizes the awakening of the earth, which I thought was
Yeah.
really cool. That I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that about oatmeal or porridge
I didn't
in the
either.
sense of Imbolc, but also butter and bread. Like
Mm-hmm.
seed cakes are very important in bulk, and then just herb infused dishes in general. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say you herb infuse an oil or a butter and you cook with that and you have
Okay.
potatoes and stuff
I
like
have
that.
I have to stop you because
Okay,
Ren makes her own butter, and we
I
may have
do.
talked about this before. She makes the best herb infused butters that I have ever tasted in my entire life.
Thank you. Bow.
It
I
is
bow.
amazing. Yes. But
Yes, I
yeah, so
have to
this
make
is like
more.
right up your alley to
Yes.
celebrate Imbolc
Yes.
this way.
I like the feasting part. I know some people might not be like, "Ooh, that's not really my favorite part." My favorite part is dancing around the fires, or my
Right.
part is
Mm-hmm.
honoring Brigid, whatever it may
Mm-hmm.
be. And I mean, this honors. Brigid and the what Imbolc stands for even
Hmm.
through a feast.
And these are the
But
foods that they had available at this time.
yes,
You got to
and
remember
these
they
are
were reaching the end of their stores at this
yes,
point. Yeah.
yes. So I mean, even honey and nuts is a great way and to
Hmm.
add something. So you can make a salad with a honey
Oh,
drizzle, honey balsamic
lovely.
drizzle with some nuts thrown in there. And
Oh, yeah.
one of my favorite things, and I don't know, I feel like I'm at my roots when I eat lamb.
Hmm.
Like I feel I don't at home. I don't know. I
I
wasn't
agree. I
I
think that
wasn't
that's,
raised eating lamb. I was
yeah,
not
I
raised
actually
eating
don't
lamb.
like lamb.
Oh my gosh, it's so
Well,
good.
your husband cooked it for us once, and I loved that,
Yes.
I must say.
Yes. Lamb is part of his culture.
Yeah, I think it hurt his heart when I said, "Oh, I don't like lamb." He's like,
He did
"Woman,
it did.
you
He was
gotta
like,
wait a
"I'll
minute.
make it for
I will
you."
make you some." And he did, and it was excellent.
And
It
yeah, we
was
finally came
lovely.
over. We finally had some lamb. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is based on the seasonings that you put.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
Mm-hmm.
what your taste is acquired to.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, lamb is something that he introduced me to,
And it makes
and
you feel like
it
home.
makes me feel at home, and I
That's so
really
cool.
love it. And so lamb, I mean, if if I had never met him and I was doing this podcast, hell no, would lamb not be in this list, even though it is one of the foods that they had to live on, our ancestors
Mm-hmm.
had to live on.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, it's homey.
That's
It's
so cool.
so I don't even know how to describe it. And then another way of feasting is, of course, with the honey, you have mead and you have all of
Mm-hmm.
these
Oh yeah.
delicious drinks, but herbal teas are also one of those things.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's something I
So
would like to learn how to make is
herbal
herbal
teas,
teas.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be able to dehydrate whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, like chamomile for like in specific, because I feel like that one's the easier one to work with.
Well, flavor wise,
Do
I love
all of
mint
that.
teas.
Oh yeah.
And we've got tons of mint growing out in our backyard. We got chocolate mint
Yeah.
and lemon
And you
mint
have a
and
dehydrator, like an
spearmint.
actual, like you
Yes.
wouldn't have to wait weeks for it to dry out for you to be able to
So
use it.
I may have to try that this year, and I will try to make TikToks of it. Don't laugh too hard.
Oh yeah.
But you can also host a candlelight dinner. I mean, candles
Ooh, I
are
would love
really
that.
what this is all
Hmm.
about.
Hmm.
And it can be intimate, just you and your partner, or I mean, it could be you by yourself. There is nothing wrong with having a candlelit dinner by yourself, or it could be a huge gathering where you have all your friends come over and you
Hmm.
have a
Hmm.
candlelit dinner. You can create meals with intention. This is your
Oh
kitchen
yes,
witchery
I love this.
for what you want to accomplish in this coming year. Or you could create an actual medieval dinner. How cool would that be?
Me,
With
I would love
roasted
to do that.
meats.
Like roasted lamb and some a big fat turkey leg.
Oh gosh, like I remember when I first got married to my husband, his family, they were farmers, and we had a pig roast, and my little city self had no idea what a pig roast was, and it was an actual
Yeah.
pig. It
Hmm.
was, I mean, you could tell it was a pig. It wasn't this saran wrapped meat that you get
No.
in the grocery
Yeah.
store. And it was some of the best food I have ever had. So how fun would that be to host that?
Oh yeah.
Have people come over. You can make these roasted meats and you can have this hearty breads and
Oh
the
man, yeah.
old-fashioned desserts, the bread puddings and that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Or
Hmm.
you can just have a romantic
Dinner.
romantic dinner for two, or a special dinner for just a few of your favorite people, like Ren. She could come over and have a special dinner with me.
That I cook for you.
Yeah, because she's the cook. She's the kitchen witch for sure. Come over to my house for dinner, but you can cook.
But you'll cook.
I'll provide the alcohol. Hey,
Ooh, I'm
hey.
there. Sold. But like off of the feast. Now, the feast to me is one of the most important components, again,
Yeah,
because
right.
that's my happy place.
Hmm.
And so another way is connecting with nature. And
Hmm.
when I think of nature, I think of me walking outside barefooted in a little flowy, whimsical dress and me
Hmm.
being my witchy self. Now, does that ever happen? No, sadly, it does
Well,
not.
and at Imbolc, it's a little chilly for
It
that.
is a little chilly. So this would have to wait a
Have you
little
ever
bit
gone
later.
barefoot in the snow?
In the snow, yes.
I love to do that.
It
It there
feels really nice,
it,
but
it's
I
there is
also really like
something
the cold.
I do too. And
I
maybe
love the
that's
cold.
just us that other people are going, what the fuck are you talking
Why are
about?
you?
But
Yeah.
to me, it is kind of cool to have on a beautiful outfit of some kind,
hmm
go barefoot or even be naked outside. I
That's a
mean,
you thing. I'm in a
that is
whimsical
that's
light
100%
flowy
me thing.
dress.
But I do love being outside with my toes in that snow.
hmm
I mean, you can't stay out long, obviously, or get frostbite,
Yeah,
whatnot,
yeah.
but there is something primal is the word I'm looking for, primal about it.
Yes. And I don't
Hmm.
know. I think it's also returning to your roots. Like
I think so.
we've had this conversation many times on our
Hmm.
podcast where I feel like we have been modernized too much in
Hmm.
a way where our souls miss
Hmm.
being primitive.
And I think that is what I think you're right. That is what it's my soul talking to me when I do
hmm
that. It's
hmm
singing. My soul
Yeah.
is singing when
I
I
mean,
do
and
that.
some people are so out of touch that they don't feel it, which is
Hmm.
understandable. But
Hmm.
I feel like with us being the way that we are and having the
Hmm.
views and I guess views is the right word that we have, we are missing that part of us that we know our ancestors have had, and we know that they got to enjoy being outside
I,
24/7, being
I
in
think
nature, thriving off nature, not just having nature around us.
I think I think that's why I think we've talked about it a couple of weeks ago about how witchcraft is it's recurring. It's coming back. It's rising.
hmm
And I think that's why our souls are like we need that
Yes.
we need that
hmm
basic.
But it's so hard to connect because we're so modernized that you
Hmm.
want your soul deeply wants to be back there
Hmm.
in your roots, but you just can't quite make that connection because you're still in
and
this modern world.
and
It's
maybe
difficult.
it is. Maybe the way to start is get a plant for your house.
hmm
You
I
know,
mean,
that is a
even
first
with
step.
even with connecting with nature, you could just spend time outdoors and
Hmm.
just maybe if you're on a paved path, maybe find a path that's not paved and take a little
Yeah.
walk on it. Maybe not too
Hmm.
far if you're in an area you don't want to be in or etc. Or you
Hmm.
don't know, you don't want to get lost, then just maybe take time, take off maybe four steps into
Yeah.
a different path. It doesn't have to be long, and enjoy the nature and the sounds around
Hmm.
you. You
Hmm.
could take a walk to tend a quote garden, but this time of year it's not really a
Hmm.
garden. But
Hmm.
even the sleeping or dead plants also provide a sense of outdoors. I
Yeah,
feel
and
like
they
there's
are just
something.
sleeping, so it might
Mhm,
be a great time to go up and put your hand on a tree and know that even though it has no leaves right now, it's sleeping. Just feel their calmness and their sleep, and
mhm.
that I think might make a connection for you.
Yeah, yeah. And then the next thing that you could also try to connect with during Imbolc is
Hmm.
divination. Always
Oh yeah.
divination.
Hmm.
So you can practice divination to gain insights into the coming season. This could
Hmm.
include activities such as scrying, tarot readings, any other forms of divination that you do choose to
Yeah,
do.
for sure. I mean, I think divination is probably a must-have for every Sabbath.
hmm
But Imbolc here in the Northern Hemisphere is we're still at the beginning of our year. So we're still at our newness and we're still at the what's to come for this year. So it's a great time to do that kind of divination for the new year, which we did an episode on that if you want to go listen to it.
Yeah.
But also, so how do you honor Brigid? Well, you can devote time to prayer if that's your thing. You can meditate, you can do rituals. You might acknowledge her various aspects, such as her healing, write poetry. She is a goddess of poetry.
hmm
She's a goddess of craftsmanship. So if you are crafty in any way, devote time to that. That is a great way to honor Brigid. You can also set up your altar to honor Brigid. You
hmm
can make her offerings. You can light a candle for her. There's all kinds of ways to honor her. Now, that is the most common goddess that goes with Imbolc, but you can
Mm-hmm.
do whatever if you want to talk to your ancestors. There's all kinds of things that you can
Mm-hmm.
do during Imbolc when you think of this time of year and what it means to you and what it meant for the ancestors. You can connect with your ancestors that way as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
Hmm.
if you're listening to this for the first time, and I'm acting as if you are, because a
Because this
sense
is a
of
new
this
series. Yeah.
series is if you are a person looking to have these answers about Sabbats, then hopefully we'll pop up. And
Hmm.
so what we always say, and I would say go listen to our normal our normal
Regular
series,
episodes. Yeah.
but we always say I mean, there are no quote rules to
Hmm.
witchcraft. And so if
Hmm.
Bridget doesn't call to you, and if you don't feel like she associates with you and what you do, then you can
Hmm.
definitely work with your ancestors. You can work with whatever deity or no deity at all. You
At
can
all.
work with
Yeah.
work with witchcraft in the way that you want to.
Hmm.
And it's just that's very important
Hmm.
because we are people who have differing views and we are just trying to find a home for ourselves. And I feel
Hmm.
like that is what you make of it and that's what you want.
I love that that's the way you put that. We're all trying to find a home for ourselves. I love that.
Okay.
And it's just like, okay, okay, whatever, River. But I mean, for real though, that is very on point with witchcraft. Now there are witches that do follow rules. There are witches that are Wiccans. There are witches that have,
Hmm.
particular
And
views,
that's
and they
absolutely
and
okay.
that is absolutely okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm just pleased that what I do for witchcraft is what I want to do,
Hmm.
and I don't feel pressured to do something I don't want to do.
Hmm.
And I love that.
Yeah. And then off of that,
Not
like a
really off of that
little,
because we were
no,
way
yeah,
off topic
little
there.
deep dive, and then now we're back. Another way that you could honor Brigid, if she is one that you want to honor,
Hmm.
spring cleaning is apparently really big with her. So it is a
Hmm.
time of renewal, and she is
Well,
associated with.
I have to say, of course, that she likes the spring cleaning. That's why she's hiding all of your shit all over the
It's
place
very
so that you
true.
have to go and
Go
clean
and
up to
find and
look
clean
for
and
it.
find
Yeah.
it exactly. She's associated with purification, and so cleaning of a physical space can help
Hmm.
create a sacred space and honor her in that in a way.
Hmm.
And then you also want to set intentions. Setting intentions are very important
That's a
when
witchy thing. I mean, you
you're
got to.
doing
Hmm.
this. So you're going to reflect on the goals and intentions you have for the upcoming season. In bulk is a time of inspiration, renewal, making it a suitable moment for setting positive intentions. And
You
I know
know,
we say intentions a lot, but it's very important.
I could just envision our ancestors sitting at the table and they're honoring Imbolc and feasting on a little bit of the leftover lamb that they have as
Hmm.
the season comes, and they're talking about when spring comes, we're going to plant this and it's going to be this. And think of that hope that they had and
I know.
how
It's
exciting
so
this time must have
warm.
been. It was a
Yeah.
planning
It's a
time.
warm, inviting time.
Hmm.
And then I feel like for anything, especially in bulk, and the way I might celebrate this year is I might meditate and I'm definitely going to journal. So another reason for you to have a journal is
Hmm.
in bulk journal maybe. I'm going to try to meditate or journal and maybe have like it be candlelit room. So like no high beaming artificial lights, maybe just
Right.
natural candlelit flames and just be able to hone in on whatever that is for me. Or maybe I'll cook in candlelit lighting or
I
something
can
like
see
that.
you cooking and maybe enjoying some herbal teas and
Hmm.
candlelight, and maybe have your fireplace on
Yep.
in the dark, and then journal.
It
I
would be
can see
so
that.
nice. Hmm.
I can see that. And then don't forget, I think we talked about this on one of our other episode. Wow, other episodes. That this is the day that the divine hag of Gaelic tradition gathers her firewood for the rest of winter. So remember, legend has it that if she wishes to make the winter last a good while longer, she'll make sure that the weather on Imbolc is bright and sunny so that she can gather plenty of firewood. Therefore, people should be relieved if Imbolc is a day of foul weather, as it meant that
Mm-hmm.
Caliac is Caliac, I don't know how to
Uh-huh.
pronounce the
Uh-huh.
Gaelic name, is asleep and winter is almost over. So it's kind of like our Groundhog Day. And we talked
Mm-hmm.
about this on some
Some
episode. I don't,
episode. I feel like we talked about it ourselves. We didn't talk about it on a podcast.
oh, maybe it wasn't on a podcast. Maybe it was just you and me. We do
Yeah,
a lot of talks like that too,
we
guys.
do, and then
So
we don't remember what's what.
that, and that's why our husbands were like, y'all just
Y'all
record this
need to
shit,
do it. Just post
yeah,
it.
just record it and post it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm excited. This was our first Sabbath episode.
Yes, our
So
Sabbath series.
a Sabbath series.
So
And
expect one on every Sabbath.
yeah,
I'm so
there's
excited.
8 Sabbath. So,
Mhm.
I'm sure Samhain, which is both of our favorites, will
I'm so
be a
excited.
really good one, I'm
Hmm.
hoping.
Hmm.
But yeah, so hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about the Sabbath, then definitely email us. We will be
Yes.
glad to answer any questions you have,
Yes.
any thoughts that you have. If you think
Hmm.
we're wrong about something,
Yeah,
which
let us
I
know.
mean, I think that it's all subjective, but
Hmm.
if you feel very strongly, certainly let us know.
Yep. And you
We're
can you
excited.
can find us at www.c3witchypodcast.com. That has everything. You can email us there. You can
Hmm.
find our social medias. You can contact us on every social media that we have. They're all listed. I'm not going to try to remember all of them, but we will reply if you message us on Instagram,
Hmm.
on Twitter, which is now X. If you message us on that, we will reply.
On
And
TikTok, we got a
on
TikTok,
TikTok, yes,
YouTube.
on anything.
Hmm.
So just reach out. And we hope that maybe we have some new listeners by posting this series. And we hope that you feel safe enough to come listen to our normal series. We also have an After Dark series, but we'll get into that later.
Yes. So that's all we have. We'll be
Hmm.
back.
We'll be back.
And until then, stay witchy.